Member for Indi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. To the Assistant Minister for Infrastructure and Regional Development, as you know, serious problems continue to affect the reliability of train services on the Melbourne to Albury line, impacting on individuals and business productivity. Will the government commit to working with the Australian Rail Track Corporation and the Victorian Government to provide a firm timeline for when the problems of the track and the reliability of train services will be fixed for the benefit of the people of all Victoria?
I call the Assistant Minister for Infrastructure and Regional Development.
Well, thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you for the member for Indi for the question. She knows that this government, led by the Infrastructure Prime Minister, is dedicated to implementing our $50 billion program, and much of it is targeted at regional areas, and particularly in her electorate. In fact, on Monday, the Assistant Minister for Education announced a $1.8 million package of works in the Indi Shire, which was a terrific investment in the electorate of Indi to ensure that your people get the benefit of the. Actually, the former member was there as invited by the council. The member for South Sydney interjects. But, Madam Speaker, I know that the member is interested. The member is interested in the rail track, and she made a series of very strong commitments in the election campaign in respect of it. It is, of course, the responsibility of the Australian Rail Track Corporation, and in taking up the lease of the track, the ARTC has had to address a significant history of underinvestment by a series of states on the Melbourne to Sydney line. The ARTC instituted a 5-year, $134 million ballast rehabilitation program in 2011 to address the problems with the line, and is now two-thirds of the way through this. A further $20 million is being spent on the Victorian West Tracks works. These are complex programs which have achieved excellent progress so far, but there is much work to be done over the next 18 months. Significant progress has been made on the condition of the track between Melbourne to Sydney. This is supported by the excellent performance of the corridor. Madam Speaker, freight availability on intermodal services are still considered meeting customers' expectation, and a majority of passenger trains are achieving much higher and consistent levels of on-time running. Madam Speaker, in particular, in relation to the Victorian side of the border, which I know the member for Indi is interested in, over the coming months, ballast rehabilitation program. Madam Speaker, I know the member for Indi is interested. Those opposite may not be an infrastructure investment, but we are on this side. It's focusing on works around fixed-point bridge, like bridge ends and level crossings along sections of the East Track in the northeast Victoria. This work started on the 22nd of September and involves working from Seymour to Benalla, forward on the East Track, and runs to the end of this month in October. These works involve specific ballast condition improvement works, including track undercutting and sledding. Drainage works through the corridor in northeast Victoria are also scheduled for late October. Madam Speaker, we are absolutely focused on this side of the place on investing in infrastructure, which improves not only investments like the East-West link that the Prime Minister has talked about, but also investments in freight rail across our country to improve our economy for more jobs and a better Australia.
I call the honourable